Hey everybody, welcome to the Media Podcast. I am Tony D, and we are talking about media, as always. First up, just a couple of quick mentions. I've got some stories in Bart Simpson 82 and Simpsons 200. They're in comic book stores. They've been in comic book stores, so check that out. Don't know if I mentioned that last time. And I've also got Post-Apocalyptic Nick issues. I finally got a shipment of them actually to my house so I can ship them out to people who missed out on our Kickstarter. So stop by the Webcomic Factory and there's a link to it under shop and or something, and you can find all the stuff we have for sale. And I can ship you out a Post-Apocalyptic Nick. We still have t-shirts left and pins and buttons and all kinds of stuff. So check that out. Okay, so the big news stories this week, well, really kind of all the same thing, is the Associated Press up in arms because a bunch of their reporters were wiretapped. And this, of course, to people who have been following FISA and wiretapping since, Bush opened up the doors to much more wiretapping, and no one gave a shit. Least of all places like the AP, it seemed. Now suddenly they're up in arms because, the reporters and various people have been wiretapped. Well, it's no surprise. I mean, really. Did you really think you were immune? Did you really think the government wouldn't do that once they had the power? I mean, it's there to use. It's a tool. So, of course, they're going to use it. And the interesting thing about it, you look at, I watched The Daily Show. I think Jon Stewart's great. You get a lot of good news out of The Daily Show, even though it's a comedy show. And I think John did a great piece on it, but also, too, within that piece, it was his own partisan view, because he refers to the people who warned of this as, the conspiracy crowd, the tinfoil hats. Well, those people were right, so it's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's what's happening. I mean, they were right, so to continue to put them down, and I'm not really chastising Jon Stewart for it, but that just seems people on that side of the partisan divide are constantly still referring to, for lack of a better term, libertarians and people who are worried about this kind of thing as, conspiracy nuts. And you can see the abuse. And now, segueing into topic 2, we have the IRS thing. And the comments are amazing online from people who support the Obama administration. They seem to be perfectly fine with the Tea Party getting scrutinized. And even though it's wrong, it's wrong on its face. I mean, let's be honest. Whether you agree to with the Tea Party's views or not, it's wrong for any political organization to be scrutinized for its political beliefs, no matter what they are. And to hear people or read people defending this, it's just amazing. It's like they don't even remember the Bush years when just the opposite was happening. You had all these groups, and you still have all these groups, especially anti-war groups, being targeted, jailed, intimidated, wiretapped, harassed. I experienced a tiny bit of it myself when I went to an anti-war protest, and it was a very small one. I'm not saying I go to a lot of them. There's certainly not a lot anymore, but I felt I had to go to at least a few. And I think this was still during the Bush years, and I went to one. It was in Absecon. It's a local South Jersey group. They have regular spots. They protest all the time. And, you know, people just come up and they go out of their minds when they see a war protest, some people. And I think it's because they're so emotionally invested in this idea that, you know, the, I don't know, the government or the military, whatever you want to call it, they feel it's like their country being attacked somehow if you say, you know, this foreign policy decision is wrong, this war is wrong. They feel personally attacked by that. And I think it's because deep down they realize the moral implication is, well, if you're supporting the war, then you're really supporting all these, you know, horrible things that happen. But it's no surprise, again, you know, that such power, and you can't get much more powerful than the IRS, is abused. I mean, it's an arm of the government. It's always going to be politicized. I mean, that's not conspiracy theory. That's logic. The government is run by politicians. Politicians are political animals, and they will politicize anything. Now, do they politicize everything? No. They politicize whatever's in their best interest. And people say, well, it's worse now. Is it? I mean, is it the result of, you know, either romanticizing the past, or is it the result of things like the internet, or just the fact that, you know, people can do more with technology now? They can reach more people. They have a farther reach than ever before. So in order to do some sort of shenanigans as a politician, you really got to do like 7 things to get one through. That seems to be the strategy anyway. So, you know, it's amazing to me that you have ostensibly liberals, you know, saying, well, you know, the Tea Party's getting what it deserves. You know, it's and of course the Tea Party, you know, they're no better in terms of their own hypocrisy. They were perfectly fine to let, you know, socialist groups and anti-war groups get their heads kicked in, and still you don't hear a peep out of them. You know, they decry big government and they don't decry big military. So, you know, I'm not defending the Tea Party. They're horrible. But it doesn't mean that everything they do or everything they believe should be instantly crushed and destroyed. And, you know, they're not the enemy. They're just people with other opinions, wrong or right. You know, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives. I mean, they're all Americans. They just have different opinions. And it's particularly, though, hypocritical of liberals, I think, because part of the liberal, I don't know if you'd call it consciousness, agenda, whatever you want to call it, is really about tolerance. Tolerance of gays, people of different religions, races, and yet, in this case, they seem extremely intolerant of anyone that would have different views on government. So for them to be treated differently by the government is, it's pretty bad. And those same people, those same liberals, were also silent about the anti-war protesters for the most part. Except during the Bush years, when it was served their political partisanship to make Bush look bad. So really, we're just looking at 2 partisan groups using whatever today's news stories are to promote their own agenda, and we're looking at the same thing with Republicans and Democrats. The difference being that Republicans tend to be much more brash about it and open and ballsy, and Democrats tend to be more slick about it and smarter. And then everybody else, they just get cut out of the conversation completely. You almost never see, a third view on any of these news programs talking about these kinds of subjects. Like, where's the third view? There's the guy who defends the Obama administration, the guy who just trashes them, and you never have like a third or fourth view of the guy who says, well, this would be wrong for any president to do or any administration. You just don't really get that anymore. It's and the end result of that is that the media will say, well, politics has polarized us all. And really, it's sort of the tail wagging the dog. It's the media, often, not all the time, but sort of dumbing down everything to that. And that's to the advantage of the people who are on those two sides, and it's to the advantage of the media to make things simpler and to give them a much tighter story, which they can then sell, and then people watch more, and there's more of a horse race, and there's more of this back and forth, and there's more of this war that you're vested in, So it's just been very exhausting reading that stuff. I talk about media and politics and news with various people online and on the phone. I've been talking to Christian about it a little bit. We've been trading links back and forth of various things, and it's just it saddens me that there aren't many people who seem to take views outside of that. My relatives and other friends, they're pretty much trapped in that mindset because they don't have the time or the energy or the will or whatever you want to call it to really go deeper beyond what television and mainly it's television, what television tells them. It's mainly a TV mindset. I mean, once you get on the internet, you can broaden your horizons if you're on it enough, and that's what happened to me. I mean, I started on the internet at the major places and broadened, and really when I got on the internet, it was a lot of the major news organizations didn't have much of a presence, so I had to go down to the second tiers who were acting like the major outlets but weren't actually the major outlets. So I guess I kind of advanced my thinking a lot sooner. What else is going on? We are premiering on the Webcomic Factory a new comic on Monday, May 20th, and that does not mean that the anti-war comic is going away. We will probably split the day on Mondays for the anti-war comic. It kind of depends upon our schedule that week, but you may not see it for a few weeks because we may bank a few scripts or whatever. It kind of depends on our schedule. I want to get this new comic rolling. We've been working on it for a while. I think it's going to be fun. It's narrative, so it's going to take a few pages to really get going, but I like it. So it's another comic that's going to be a more Tales of the Crypty kind of feel to it. So that starts on Monday, so watch for that. And please check out all our sponsors. We have so many sponsors this month. It's crazy. Randomcomics.net, of course, for all your print comic needs. Those guys have been great. I've lost count of how many months they've been sponsoring us, but they've been awesome. The owner is a big fan of ours. He comes to the site. He likes all the links, all our link buddies. He loves it. So please support him. If you're going to buy some print comics, order some from him. Randomcomics.net. Digital comics, go to my friends at DiGerolamo.com. They got a lot of free stuff there already, so just go there. I mean, what do you got to lose if it's free, right? Download some stuff, check it out. Digital's the way to go. Digital really is, to me, the print version you know, the internet version of print now. You know, a lot of the big companies are going that way, and you know, DiGerolcomics.com, they really got some high-end stuff, so you should definitely check those guys out too. Third sponsor is MeCam, and this is an exciting thing to me. I think this is also the wave of the future. MeCam is a little portable camera. It's about this big, a little bigger than a quarter, I guess, and you pin it to yourself, and it's a little video camera with sound and stuff, and you know, you tape your day or whatever you do. It's kind of like this, only it's more portable, if you could believe that. So I'm sure they're working on ways to have the camera fly around you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm sure that's in the works, but you know, MeCam's cool. It looks like, you know, it comes in different colors and stuff, so it's a cool thing. You should definitely check it out. And finally, our newest sponsor is Gameplay Gear. And those guys, it's another clothing place, but this one has clothing related to video games. So a lot of t-shirts and stuff, and cool stuff, you know, for video game related stuff. I know you guys like that. I love it too. So definitely check it out, Gameplay Gear. And by helping our sponsors, you help us. So please go to their sites and check out their stuff. You know you buy this stuff anyway. So, you know, you kill two birds with one stone. You buy this stuff, buy from our sponsors, mention us, you help us, you help them. It's a win-win. I mean, you can't beat that. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here. I'm sorry I'm a little low-key tonight. I kind of messed myself up doing some yard work today. Well, it wasn't really yard work, it was farm work with my dad. I don't know, I think I pulled a muscle or something. Ugh. Don't ever get old, kids. It sucks so much. You know, I remember the days when I would get hurt, and then, like, you know, I'd just go sit and watch half-hour TV, and then I go, oh, I'm fine now, and get up and run. And now it's just like, it's like an ordeal every time I pull a muscle. It's like, ugh. It's like 2 weeks of like, oh, is this healed yet? Can I move my shoulder this way? Unfortunately, most of my job is sitting around like a lump making comics, so you know, first world problems, but still, it sucks. It sucks. But it's nice out now, so the weather's nice, so hopefully I'll be getting some more exercise, going out, doing some more walk shows, getting out of the house. Thanks to all who sent us emails about the missus, who of course had her foot surgery, and she is recovering nicely. She has transitioned into a hard cast, so she's getting around much better, walking much better. I'm not worried about her falling over anymore, thank God. And so hopefully by the end of the month we'll be getting real close to back to normal here, and I can stop being nursemaid and doing the laundry and cleaning the house, which I really suck at. So anyhow, that's Tony's Media Podcast for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Send me an email at thefixesin at comcast.net, and I'll answer all your questions, whether it's about webcomics or media, or whether you just want to yell at me and say some stuff. Thank you, and good night.